Well, what are you gonna do? Come on. Yeah, still beautiful. Kind of like to tighten the mounts, you know, kind of like get everything going a little bit at a time. I see Cliffy break those front motor mounts on Anthony's race bike. I just didn't need that problem. I really hate to have it. So I give everything a couple of nice snug turns at a time. Once I got my impact out, then I just fucking, yeah. No, I'm an idiot, really. In case you didn't know. Years upon years of drug abuse, I think, probably. I live in a pretty good fucking life right now, though, you know? Like, I'm definitely not shy about it. I talk about it, or type about it, I guess. About what a fuck up I was. It kind of keeps me grounded. A little bit sane. You know, I saw some terrible shit when I was 16, 17 years old. As a kid that, you know, I had no business seeing, being around. So, and it cost my father his life. And after that, the structure, discipline, I guess. I don't know what word to use exactly, but I didn't have any more of it. So I kind of did my own thing. I had some money, I blew it. You know, not on drugs, right off. We had a fun wave runner and a boat and just all kinds of cool shit. And then I moved to the city, you know, Bangor area, from town where I was a little bit north, and I found the wrong people, and I had fun. I thought I was pretty cool, you know. I didn't have to answer to anybody. My girlfriend loved me. We were pregnant. You know, I was hustling because I was from up in the county and knew all the green bud park connections, and so everybody thought I was great, you know, and oh, here, trade some of these and take some of those, and here, sniff this. You guys are sniffing fucking pain pills? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, who does that? Everybody. I found out. Everybody. So that was where I went. Got charged with trafficking heroin when I had just hit adulthood, and I had never even touched it. You know, a guy who'd gotten in trouble decided it'd be an awesome idea to tell on me because he was in trouble for embezzling money through a car dealership, something stupid. I got all kinds of time for that. I think 10, all but 2.5. And then I went for another year, and then I went for 4 years, and then 5 years, and then 8 years. It was just a progression of, you know, that tangled web, the proverbial tangled web we weave, I guess. Yeah, it just your typical fuck up. Had accepted the fact that I was gonna live a life full of institution. was okay with that. Like, my family kind of abandoned, I guess is the word. I didn't hear from them ever. And but by the grace of God, which I do believe in, at 40 years old, got out, found out that my father's brother, my childhood hero, 6'11", Boston College basketball, would have been a Celtic had he not cut himself real bad. He's in the Converse All-Star Hall of Fame. Thought he had died of cancer. I got out and I remembered his number from when I was a kid, and I was, kind of just in one of those moments, you have a feeling. So I just called and left a message. It didn't say anything. The number you have reached, like leave a message after the tone. Didn't have him talking anything. And I left a message. I apologized for stealing from him when I was a kid. I had sold $100 from him once. That ate me up forever. This dude was my Superman. Man, like 45 minutes later, ring, my phone rings. I didn't answer it for some reason. I don't know, it seems like, I think it was unavailable maybe. I didn't answer it, and I listened to the voicemail afterwards. Can somebody have Jamie call me? I need to talk to him immediately. And it was my Uncle Mike. And anybody that's on the Facebook groups with me has probably seen pictures. Just an incredible guy. He got diagnosed in 2013 and been given 30 to 60 days to live. Lung cancer. He had a tumor the size of an orange in his throat. His wife, Annie, my aunt, he got the best of treatment. She went through a lot. So he became a patient of Dana-Farber in Boston. Just life-changing treatment. And when I got out in 2018, he was still alive. Not quite in remission. He was still doing treatments here and there. And he showed an interest in my well-being, and I'd never had that as an adult. The only interest that anyone ever showed me was in what I had to offer, or beating up some child molester on the mile, like whatever. So I started working with him, and I can remember I hit my 1-year mark, and I was like, I've been out a year before, like, big deal. Won't be long, I'll be back. I was sentenced to 5 state sentences. So 2 years rolled around. Well, the 15-month mark rolled around, and that was like, I brought it up to him. I'm like, man, like, this day right here marks a day that I've never spent free as an adult. I had figured out exactly how long I was out prior to within a few days, and had let that pass. And it just kind of hit me a little bit, and this guy was Team Jamie, big fan. And he said, we've got a long way to go. And again, I kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, yeah, okay. 2 years rolled around, and I was nervous, like a different kind of nervousness. And I've said it a lot of times, the thought of me being in prison and continually in and out and in and out, like the memory of that faded for my brother, my family, like everybody that was in my life. That just kind of faded, like, almost like it had never happened. But every day, that anxiety just fucking, when is it gonna happen? I was a nervous wreck. I don't know why. I'm mentally strong. Emotionally, maybe not so much. And 3 years rolled around, and it was the same old thing, like, holy smokes. And then 4 years. And at 4 years, we had gone to Dana-Farber. I was my uncle's co-pilot. I couldn't drive or anything, but I was his co-pilot on a lot of trips that he would just go down and have to do testing because for some reason Dana-Farber couldn't correspond with Eastern Maine Medical Center through, like via X-ray or CAT scan or something. So we always had to get down there. They'd do the testing in Bangor, and we'd have to get down to Boston, and they'd do the reading. And his doctor told him that signs of growth in a tumor about the size of his pinky nail in the upper left lobe of his lung. And I didn't really think anything of it, like this dude's been in my life for 4 years now, and he was gonna be there until the day that I died. Maybe was my impression that I had. And he got to a point where, he was a funny dude. We'd go to work and he'd do a little bit, and then he'd sit down on a 5-gallon bucket, and I'd always, we were comical. We were a funny bunch, just the two of us. And he said, man, I could sit here and watch you work all day. And it was kind of like an ongoing joke. Although I could tell he was losing weight. He made a joke out of a serious situation so to not disturb me in that way, because when the conversation ever came up, it wasn't something I didn't want to discuss it. Like I said, I'm mentally strong, but emotionally I'm a sensitive fella for 6'3", at the time 265 pounds, now 230. So he got sicker and sicker, and to the point, and this was only over a few month period, to the point where he had a hard time getting out of his pickup and coming in to the job site, making it that far. There was days where it took him till break time to work his way inside. He'd walk up two steps and he'd be wore out. I'm not gonna cry, I promise. So COVID happened. That really fucked us up. We couldn't work together. Annie, like I said, my aunt, she was just hardcore. Anything to protect him was what was important, and me working with him wasn't important enough to continue. So we didn't. And he got me a job through a real good friend of his, and it was a great opportunity. I loved it. I worked with him for almost 2 years until this past fall, where I went off onto my own. But so in year 4, back to where I was at in the year process, at year 4, he died. I was holding his hand when he took his last breath. His daughter, who is my little sister, his son, who was my little brother, were both there. And it was kind of a beautiful moment. His biggest fear in life was not to die of asphyxiation, I guess, kind of like I just posted on Facebook. Imagine having your mouth and one nostril covered and running a marathon and dying from that. That's scary shit. So yeah, that was pretty tough, but most important, I didn't get high. I had the support of, now I was with my 24-year-old, or almost 24-year-old son's mom. Super supportive. And yeah, it was an experience that made me grow. And at the end of it, I guess if we can consider this the end of it, no, not really, but I basically learned that I'm pretty strong. That I can go through anything. Not so much strong, but that I don't have to get high. There's nothing on earth that is going to cause me to go pick up a needle or coke or whatever it is. Had no reason to pick that up. If I did, it was a weak moral character, and that's not me. Get it, Dave? So yeah, it was a good moment. Remember this bicycle here we're working on? I remember. My bad. So yeah, and here, here we are, ultimately, working on motorized bicycles. Not because it's a wicked fun thing to do. If I had my driver's license, I wouldn't know. Still, the first motorized bicycle I saw 5 years ago, I didn't even know that they did that. I'd seen like weed whackers and shit on them before. I gotta get a socket. I had seen weed whackers before with motors on them, and, it wasn't anything all that impressive. But geez, to see an actual purpose-built frickin', yeah, it's for a fucking bicycle. And then I always made decent money throughout the last 5 years. I had never been employed before that, but I always made decent money. So Ethan come out with a hybrid, and what I needed was practicality with something that was going to be dependable. And man, I put 7,000 miles on that motor. And then he come out with his billet case. Oh, well, why wouldn't I, right? I got the wrong side socket. So I got that. Then I had a chance to buy Ryan Kellett's bicycle. Yeah! That thing was ridiculous. I loved it. I got it for a great deal. Then I had a chance to buy Ryan Dara's bicycle. And then, Tad on. And the 2-ton race bike. You know what I mean? Like, I had bicycles. So yeah, I mean, it was all a very, very fun experience. So far, I'm not at the end of it. I'm by far more than just starting. It's ridiculous. This camera is sitting on a 1976 fleet-side short box, square body Chevy pickup that was given to me by my current boss. And on the other side of it is a practically showroom condition 07 LTZ Tahoe that